Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be starting a brand new series. It is from this book called History as It Happened. And it's a bunch of really cool history maps. And I've got my paintbrush here to brush the maps for you. Now, like some of my other series, you guys seem to like this, and I have fun filming it. I have not read anything in this book. I've flipped through it a couple times, and I've read the titles of the maps, but I've not actually read the maps. So we're going to explore them together for the first time. I cannot wait. This book is so cool. So we are starting off at the very beginning, prehistory. Let's get into it, starting with our planet's history. I have been itching to read this book. I almost caved and just did it. So yeah, this will be very off the cuff. You'll hear my stream of consciousness. There'll probably be mistakes, and I leave them in. So here we go. Our planet's history. The geography of our planet has had the greatest impact on how history has unfolded on Earth. Over millions of years, natural processes have formed continents and mountain ranges by pushing land together, and opened seas and oceans as land masses separated. These processes have created opportunities for us to exploit and challenges for us to overcome throughout history. Okay. It says there are 7 major and 8 minor tectonic plates on Earth. Let's start off here at number 1. It says continents and oceans. Driving Earth's physical changes is the process of plate tectonics. The outer layer of Earth is like a cracked eggshell, with its sections of land and ocean moving around as they sit on the hot, churning molten rocks of the mantle beneath. Around 500 million years ago, during the Cambrian period, much of Earth's land is combined in the supercontinent of Gondwana, which is surrounded by Panthalassa. Okay, I've never heard that. Panthalassa, a vast super ocean. Got the super ocean. It says Gondwana is forming on the other side of the planet. Then why wouldn't they show? I don't know, maybe they want to show the super ocean. Panthalassa. I wonder how they got that name. Wild. You can kind of see, it's kind of hard to see, but it looks like a little Europe and Asia, right? I believe. Let's read about forests and mountains. The world's first forests formed during the Devonian period, which lasted from 419 to 358 million years ago. Gondwana has begun to break up, and the Appalachian mountain range of modern-day North America begins to form as land masses collide. Here it says Laurasia forms when part of modern-day Europe and Siberia crash into parts of North America. It looks like this would be Greenland here. Looks like this is the other side of the planet. I think that must be Asia there. You can see India. So yeah. Pretty cool. Interesting. Let's see what this says. Make sure you can see. It says modern-day Eurasia and North America are... Wait, is there a 3? Oh, there is a 3. There we go. Last supercontinent. Toward the end of the Triassic period, around 220 million years ago, the last supercontinent, Pangaea, is beginning to break apart. The first mammals evolve on land, but it is the dinosaurs that really rule at this time. There's Pangaea. One big supercontinent. What does this say? Modern-day Eurasia and North America are stuck together in the northern hemisphere and connected to Africa and South America, which mostly lie in the southern hemisphere to form Pangaea. Look at that. I'm trying to make heads or tails of this, but I can't figure out what I'm looking at. See, the other side is all ocean. Wow. I guess that makes sense. So this is like the same view, and then this is the same view, which is why this one didn't show Gondwana, I'm guessing. That makes sense now. Oh, I get it now. Yeah, like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, is this Southeast Asia? I do not know. I really don't. I'm very confused by Pangea there. Let's see what happens. Maybe it'll make sense in a minute. Oh, now that I look at it. Okay, so this is North America still. This is Africa. This is South America. So this is Europe, right? I'm trying to look ahead. I can't really tell. I think. Okay. Number 4, breaking up. It's hard to do. By 180 million years ago, the rift in Pangaea has widened, creating the early Atlantic Ocean. Similarly, in the northern hemisphere, parts of Eurasia have begun to pull away from North America. And here it says the Andes Mountains begin to form as the Nazca Tectonic Plate is forced under the South American Plate. Here comes the Andes right there. So yeah, you can see Canada here. There's the Appalachians. The divide there between Africa and South America is pretty plain. How interesting. That's so cool. You can see the Isthmus of Panama forming there. Let's see what happens next. Number 5, high seas. The Atlantic Ocean has opened up by about 120 million years ago in the early Cretaceous period in the east-west rift that runs roughly through the equator. On the other side of the world, the vast Pacific Ocean has formed. A generally warmer climate worldwide means that sea levels are higher than today. Jet jaguars here. Come here, baby. Let's look at the Atlantic Ocean. He's walking around the book. You don't want to be on camera. Oh, well. Here's the Atlantic Ocean forming. You can see, there he is. We can see Africa and South America breaking apart. You can see the Isthmus of Panama, Central America starting to form. Over here it says Australia begins to pull away from Antarctica into the Pacific Ocean. Wow. Like, I guess this is the Iberian Peninsula, maybe? I don't know. What's all this? Maybe this becomes Europe. I don't know. Maybe one of these is like Great Britain or something. I don't know. Let's see, number 6, modern times. We've got a planet. By 50,000 years ago, the continents and seas are roughly where they are today. Africa pushes up into Europe, creating the Alps mountain range in Europe and sealing off the Mediterranean Sea. Earth's climate cools, causing ice caps to form at the poles. Humans are already making their way around the planet by this time. The physical world they travel through and settle down in begins to affect the way societies develop. It's pointing to the Sahara. It says about 21,000 years ago, the ice caps led to a drier climate, which creates the early Sahara Desert across Africa. A big old desert. To think that it's still growing. Pretty wild. Over here it says tens of thousands of small islands form in the Pacific Ocean, many as a result of volcanic eruptions and plate tectonic activity. The big ring of fire here. With all kinds of islands in there. What's up here? I think this just talks about plate tectonics, so I'm going to skip that, to be honest. It is fascinating, but I'm going to focus on geography. Even though that is geography. Oh well. Not focusing on the science behind it, but more about the geography. Let's, I guess, learn how humans moved around the world. From our earliest days, our species, Homo sapiens, had a desire to explore and settle in new places. After emerging in Africa about 300,000 years ago, Our modern human ancestors began their long journey across every major inhabitable part of the planet, a process that was not complete until about 25,000 years ago, when they reached South America. There's a quote from Ban Ki-moon over here. It says, "Migration is part of our very makeup as a human family." Number 1 says Out of Africa, which I didn't really like that movie. Out of Africa? It was alright. It was very pretty to look at, but oh well. Modern humans and the ancestors they evolved from are called hominins. The first hominin was an ape-like animal that lived about 7 million years ago in Africa. By the time Homo sapiens appear, about 300,000 years ago, there are a few other hominin species who have already begun to travel out of Africa. Our ancestors soon follow. And here is a hand axe made by Homo erectus. It's in the name. They were famous for making tools, the first hominins to make tools. Handyman, Homo erectus. So cool. Alright, so this box is purple, so I assume that the purple arrows are about that box. So they're moving this way and this way. Looks like easy ways to travel. I was about to say, like, was this like a body of water, but it's just this pointy. It looks like Africa's being sliced right there. It is actually being sliced right there, IRL. Some plate tectonics, but it doesn't look like that. We're going into Asia next. Number 2. Humans were living in what is now Israel/Palestine between 194,000 and 177,000 years ago, and in modern-day Saudi Arabia around 88,000 years ago. Remains of people and tools have been found in both places, suggesting that people came in waves, possibly as the climate changed. And here is a beautiful photo of some cave art. This is from Hailu province in Saudi Arabia. You can very clearly see people riding camels, like it's plain as day. And this looks like a big giraffe, maybe. Maybe it's just a really long camel with some really cool writing alongside it. I wonder what it says. That's so neat. Let's see, this is dark blue. So this way, if we have people moving up this way, this way, and this way, head over here. Also looks like we're heading down here, up here, down here to Oceania, Australia, Papua New Guinea. There's little symbols here. Where's the key? There it is. Cave art site means this. What is that supposed to be? Oh, it's a little antelope. Okay. Cave art site in Algeria. Beautiful, beautiful. In Tassili, Niger. In the Indian subcontinent, of course. And then down here in Indonesia, looks like, I think that's Sulawesi. I can't tell. And then in Kakadu as well, very famous. The bones here means human fossil sites. So yes, Lake Mungo is a very famous one. Balangoda, I think that says. Looks like on Sri Lanka. Jebel Irhoud, which I was about to say, but it says it right here. The remains of the earliest Homo sapiens yet found were discovered in Jebel Irhoud. Earliest Homo sapiens that we can find, at least. We have the Hirtu/Middle Awash area. Up here, like it said, Israel/Palestine. It looks like Kafsa, it's called. And then the little pickaxe here means that it's an archaeological site. So we have Jebel Faya there on the Arabian Peninsula. Looks like Oman right there. And then here on the Huon Peninsula in Papua New Guinea. Oh, and also here in India, of course. There's all kinds of archaeology happening in Indus Valley area, Pakistan and India. And I guess in central India too. Number 3, meeting relatives. In Europe and parts of Asia, Homo sapiens come into contact with another human species called Neanderthals. The two groups mix, but Neanderthals eventually die out about 40,000 years ago, possibly because of the dominance of our species. It says here Neanderthals were on average shorter and more muscular than our species. I still think about that one History Magazine article about the Neanderthals. I think about that article a lot. It's probably one of my most favorites. Speaking of, I should be getting my new issue any day now. I'm very excited. Keep an eye out for that, especially if you're a channel member, because you get to pick which articles I read. Let's see the light blue arrows here. We are moving up out of Central Asia here into, looks like Russia, and then from Anatolia up into Europe. And what are some of the sites here? We have Altamira and Lascaux, probably the two most famous caves in the world, I guess, besides in Argentina, which is over there. I see it. We've got an archaeological site at Hohlfels. I think that's where at least in this area, where Neanderthals were first discovered. We've got some human remains here at Kostenki. And it says the remains of a male from Kostenki is one of the oldest modern humans found in Europe. Wow, wow, wow. I think that was it for the light blue arrows. Meeting the Neanderthals here. Number 4 says crossing the strait. Our species spreads into modern-day China somewhere between 120,000 and 80,000 years ago. Gradually making their way north, modern humans crossed the Bering Strait around 18,000 years ago, paving the way for the peopling of the Americas. We're looking at dark green arrows, because light green arrows are over here. So let's look at the dark green arrows. We have people moving into China. I didn't see that the rock art's called the Bimbetka Rock Shelter is cool. I've never heard of those. I should look that up. I bet it's neat. Moving up through China here, we can see human remains here at Tianyan Cave. Moving through Central Asia, we have an archaeological site at Karbon. I think I've heard of that. I don't remember where. And human remains found at Malta. Not Malta, but Malta. And then there's an archaeological site up here in Yana. I think it says Yana. It says tools and mammoth and rhinoceros bones found in Yana show that some humans lived above the Arctic Circle during the Ice Age. That's wild. What were they doing there? You know what they were doing? They were crossing the Bering Strait to what's now Alaska. It says the Bering Strait was frozen over at the peak of the last ice age, allowing humans to cross it. Let's see what happens next. Reaching the Americas. Many people used to say that Italian navigator Christopher Columbus discovered the Americas when he landed there in 1492, but the land had been peopled for thousands of years. The real first people there trekked southward from modern-day Alaska, reaching the southern tip of South America by about 10,500 years ago. And here we can see a flint point made by ancient South Americans. I wish it specified where in South America this is from. Maybe Brazil. I don't know, that would be my guess. Statistically, most of South America is Brazil, right? I would assume. Let's travel down the Americas. See where our ancestors traveled. Heading down here, we have an archaeological site at Bluefish Cave and Old Crow River. We're traveling down the coast here. It says some humans stay close to the coast, which offers sources of food and also a means of transportation. Some people are heading down the central area here. Heading down here into, looks like what's now Texas. And then over here into Appalachia. We've got some cave art here at 9 Mile Canyon. We've got the La Brea woman found down here, obviously in La Brea, what's now Los Angeles. Clovis, which Clovis points are all named after. Things like this. Clovis points. And this is Topper. It says, let's see, the people who lived in Clovis were once viewed as the first Americans, but finds from other sites such as Topper are even older. Very cool. We've got some cave art down here too in Lower Pecos River. I don't know if that's in the US or Mexico. But we are traveling down through Mexico, at least what's now Mexico today, through Central America, across the Darien Gap, into South America. We have an archaeological site here at Taima Taima. It says the butchered remains of a juvenile mastodon, which was an elephant-like mammal from at least 13,000 years ago, have been found in Taima Taima. I hope you can see. You're good. Okay. That's amazing. There were mastodons down here. That's crazy. So we've got people traveling along the Atlantic coast here. There's cave art here in Serra de Capovara. And the Lucia woman has been found here. There's some people that hop over here to the Andes and traveled even further down this way to the coast and all the way down to Tierra del Fuego. And there you can see the Cueva de los Manos, which is like, I think Lascaux, Altamira, and the Cave of Hands are like the most famous cave art sites in the world. IMO. Let's read about it. It says hunter-gatherer people living between 13,000 and 9,500 years ago used hollow bird bones to blow paint on their hands against cave walls, creating a distinctive hand stenciling effect. I hope I get to see it someday. I've seen so many pictures of it, and it's just like, it just takes my breath away every time. Because it's like the ultimate I was here, but they were there thousands and thousands of years ago. Gives me chills thinking about it. Let's find out about farming and the first cities. And I think there's one more map after this, so 2 more. We're halfway done. How exciting is that? Farming and the first cities. The first humans relied on gathering plants and hunting animals to survive. All that changed when our ancestors started farming around 10,000 BCE. Farming fed more people, allowing large groups to settle in one place for the first time, which led to the first towns and cities. The practice developed independently in different places around the world at about the same time. There's a quote here from 19th century U.S. politician Daniel Webster. When farming begins, other arts follow. The farmers are the founders of human civilization. Why is this name familiar? He's famous for something. I think I know, but I don't want to be wrong, so I'm not going to say. Speaking of America, let's start over here. Okay, wait, let's find out what all these colors mean first of all. Where's the key? Where's the key? Where's the key? There's no key. Here it is. Okay. All right, green means a center of farming and animal domestication. So I guess whatever shape, that's what was domesticated. What is that? It looks like, oh, it's sunflower. If I just read the thing, I would have known. It says sunflowers are domesticated in North America around 2000 BCE. Here in the Mississippi River area, sunflowers. It's like I always associate sunflowers with Ukraine and the steppe, but this is where they come from. That's pretty wild. Down here looks like we've got corn, tomatoes, and whatever that is. Oh, it's a turkey. I see it now. It's a little head and big old tail. Turkeys. Squash. I thought that was corn. I guess it's squash. I thought that's where corn was. Oh. Squash is grown in Mesoamerica from around 8,000 BCE with corn. Oh, maybe it is corn. Domesticated around 1,500 years later. Turkeys become a staple food around 2,000 years ago. I'm making turkey tonight. I'm making Japanese hamburg steak, and I'm using turkey. Actually, no. I saved the turkey meat to make chili. Never mind. I'm using beef and sausage to make hamburg. I'm really hungry. It's in the fridge waiting to go. Right after this, I'm making dinner. I'm getting hungry. I'm going to get hungrier talking about all this food. We've got, you can see Teotihuacan right there in the middle of this green zone. We've got some green happening here. It looks like Colombia to Ecuador. And then down here, it looks like Peru, probably. You can see Tiwanaku, Lake Titicaca. It says potatoes are first farmed around 8000 BCE near Lake Titicaca in modern-day Bolivia and Peru. Looks like a potato. It looks like a bale of fat llama right there. It says the only large native animals suited to domestication in the Americas are alpacas and llamas. Both are found in the Andes region. Let's see the box here about this. It says American food. The first farmers of the Americas have a different selection of animals and plants to work with compared to those in the rest of the world. Turkeys, llamas, potatoes, squash, and corn are all native species here and are all farmed from around 8000 BCE. Look at this terraced farmland here. Let me brush it. Look at that. Oh, my stomach's growling. I'm getting hungry. Ready for hambagu. Inca farmers used terraces cut into rocks to grow crops. That's beautiful. Look at all over here, too. That's incredible. I've never seen a round terraced farm. That's amazing. That's amazing. Let's hop over to where it all began, at the Fertile Crescent. It says farming first begins around 10,000 BCE in the Fertile Crescent, a broad strip of land in West Asia. This land is perfect for growing crops, especially the nutrient-rich soil between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Animals such as sheep, goats, pigs, and cattle are first domesticated here. I just had a thought that this is like a perfect thumbnail. Let me hold on, brush this like that, like that. Okay, snap that in the future when I'm editing this. Okay, perfect. All right. Farming spreads outward from the Fertile Crescent to areas such as Egypt, from where this tomb painting comes. And they are plowing the field there with their spotty cows. So yeah, Fertile Crescent. When I was 11 and we were studying ancient civilizations in school, I was only really taught that the Fertile Crescent was in Mesopotamia. So I was like, why is it called the Crescent? But they don't really teach you that it goes pretty much goes like into Egypt here. It's like all this here is the Fertile Crescent, because you can't forget the Nile River. And it looks like they've got sheepies there, and what is that? Wheat? The earliest domestication of plants anywhere happens around 11,000 BCE, when emmer and einkorn wheats are formed. I don't know my different types of wheats. I hope that's how you say those. Let's look at Africa in the green Sahara right here. Like a perfect brush. Look at that. I love that. The earliest known cultivated crop in sub-Saharan Africa is pearl millet, which was domesticated in the West African Sahel in 2500 BCE. And then along that same area down here, we've got some cows. It says in Africa, animals are domesticated before crops. Cattle are used around 6500 BCE, with grain not following until thousands of years later. Yeah, cattle is still very important in this corner of Africa here. My stomach's growling. Sorry. It's important in other parts of Africa and around the world. But, yeah, there's a big cattle culture there, down into like Kenya and such. Let's see what's happening up here. It says many cities spring up along the banks of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, filled with people fed by crops grown in the fertile land. Here we can see Akkad, Babylon, Uruk, Eridu, Susa, Ashur, all the big hits. All those Mesopotamian centers that we know and love. Let's look over here by the Ganges River. We've got more cows and rice. I think that's rice. The fertile shores of the Ganges River create a great place for growing rice and beans and raising cattle. I thought they'd be showing Indus River, but I guess Ganges is where it began over here in the Indian subcontinent in terms of farming. Then look at all of this here in China. We've got rice, we got pigs, we got chickens. It says pigs and chickens are just some of the animals domesticated in China about 6000 BCE. But let's read about the rice. Rice is domesticated and becomes the main crop for people in East Asia from around 8000 BCE. Humans changed the plant by selectively growing bigger rice grains, making it easier to grow and a more energy-rich source of food. I did a channel member only video about how rice farming began and spread around the world. It's actually really interesting. I learned a lot making that video. Channel members get videos that only they can see, that are ad-free, and topics are requested by them. So if you want to check that out, you can join my memberships. Click join. Rainforest farming over here in New Guinea. Look at that. What do we have? Bananas and eggplant. What is that? Some kind of bulbous gourd looking thing. In the tropical rainforests of New Guinea, grains don't grow as well as fruits and vegetables. Taro and yams, I was close, therefore become staples of the local diet from around 8000 BCE. Later on, people bring them to Southeast Asia. We've got roots of taro or taro, depending where you are in the world. I kind of flip between the two. I guess it's taro supposed to be. I'm scratching my neck. I'm sorry, it's right by the mic. This is what taro root looks like. I thought these were like coconuts or something. That's wild. And the leaves can be eaten. That's cool. Very edible plant. It says bananas are first domesticated in Southeast Asia around 5000 BCE. Wow. Fascinating, actually. I learned something. I learned that's where bananas come from, and I learned that sunflowers come from North America. Wow. I would have guessed it came from over here because of how it's so closely associated with the steppe here in Ukraine and all that. Interesting. All right, last map of the night. We've got the last ice age. Earth looked very different around 20,000 years ago, at the height of the last ice age. Ice ages occur when Earth's temperature drops a few degrees, causing ice to form in huge sheets called glaciers. The ice locks up water, causing sea levels to drop and reveal land. The last ice age ended around 10,000 years ago. Where do we start? There's a fact over here. Around 20,000 years ago, sea levels were lower by as much as 394 feet, or 120 meters in some places. So this is what the Earth looked like during the Ice Age, which is much more blobby than it looks today, huh? I guess we'll just work our way around and start in Doggerland. Which, if you watch Mini Minute Man, he has a whole video about Doggerland. Really interesting. Around 20,000 years ago, much of northern Europe lies under glaciers, with the sea levels low enough for the British Isles to be joined to continental Europe by the Doggerland land bridge. As the ice melts and sea levels rise, Britain and Ireland become islands. So there's Doggerland. It says 20,000 years ago. The glaciers make living in the far north impossible, so people live on the Doggerland land bridge. 10,000 years ago, as the ice recedes, Doggerland shrinks and people begin moving into Britain and Ireland. You can see them right there. There's Great Britain, there's Ireland, and there's Iceland hanging out up there. In modern day, Doggerland is totally submerged, leaving Britain and Ireland as islands, separated from Europe by the sea. There's Britain. There's Ireland. Yeah. Also, look what happened over here by like Denmark. This separated too. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Oh, that's down here. I didn't even notice all this. See, now, if I had read this in advance, I would have started on the map and then read the boxes. All right. Well, I guess let's just go down. Let's just follow the pages. We may as well. Let's look at these mammoths. It says food and warmth. Animals such as the woolly mammoth are adapted to live in the colder climates. Early humans hunt these giant beasts for food, but also for their furry coats, which people make into clothes to keep warm. The last woolly mammoths died around 4,000 years ago, probably due to the warming climate and human hunting. This mammoth doesn't stand a chance. All these people are here to spear it. There's a spear sticking out right there. At the poles, it says, ice radiates out from the poles, the coldest places on Earth. There's more ice around the North Pole because there's more land for the ice to latch onto. I never thought of that. That makes perfect sense. Look at the ancient North Pole and the ancient South Pole. Look how much bigger Antarctica was once upon a time. Pretty crazy. What does this say in Antarctica? It says sea ice extended farther from the Antarctic continent than it does today. Sea ice is never more than a few yards thick, insignificant in comparison to the ice on land. Interesting. So the ice is thinner in Antarctica than like glaciers on continents? Interesting if true. Anyway, Antarctica. We've got Sunda and Sahul. I've heard of Sunda. There's the great Sunda Sea, right? But what's Sahul? I hope I didn't just make that up. The Sunda Sea. Anyway, the lower sea levels mean that Southeast Asia is joined up in a landmass called Sunda. Look at that, Sunda. Across a deep water channel lies Sahul, made up of modern-day Australia and New Guinea. Early humans sailed between Sunda and Sahul to populate Australia. 20,000 years ago, lower sea levels and more land mean that humans can make their way to Australia. Like you can clearly see Sulawesi now. It looks exactly the same then, 20,000 years ago. Interesting. Look, you can see the Philippines there. Look at that. That's so cool. 10,000 years ago, both Sunda and Sahul begin to break up as water floods in. Look, it's Torres Strait there is just a lake. Wow. And in present day, you can see like separated right there. Southeast Asia is a collection of many islands. New Guinea is now separate from Australia. Wow. That's so neat. I never thought about how these islands are all joined up once upon a time. I don't really think about that because they don't look like they fit together like South America and Africa do, right? Well, pretty neat. Let's look at Beringia. At the height of the last ice age, Asia is connected to North America via a land bridge called Beringia. This bridge is crucial to human history because it allowed early humans to migrate across and begin peopling the Americas. As time passes, Beringia disappears and the two continents are separated by sea. There's Beringia. 20,000 years ago, Beringia forms around 35,700 years ago, with the first humans trekking across from around 23,000 years ago. Yeah, they had tons of space to do so. I don't know why I always pictured like the Bering Land Bridge as being like a narrow channel. I guess because there's nothing there today. But it was huge, wasn't it? 10,000 years ago. Make sure you can see just fine. As the climate warms up, the rising water begins flooding into Beringia. And today, These days, Asia and North America are separated by a body of water called the Bering Strait. There it is. There's Asia. Mostly Russia. I think that's all Russia. And Alaska. Part of the United States in North America. Wow. Yeah, I guess I just always imagined it would be like a little bridge right there. So you think land bridge, a bridge is narrow and tiny. But it was not narrow or tiny at all. Look at this. Massive, massive, massive. Let's see all the little boxes here. This is 20,000 years ago, it says. This map shows how different Earth looked around. What happened there? Okay. Oh, you know what? That's Hawaii. I'm trying to smudge out poor Hawaii. No. Anyway, this map shows how different Earth looked around 20,000 years ago at the height of the last ice age. Huge glaciers cover much of North America, Europe, and the highest parts of the world, such as the Andes and Himalayas mountain ranges in South America and Asia. These glaciers slowly grind on the land, forming valleys in some places. The last ice age ended around 10,000 years ago, and as the ice melted, sea levels rose to what they are today, leaving some ice at the poles. Now let's look around. Here in Gibraltar, it says Europe and Africa are joined together, making the Mediterranean an inland sea. Interesting. How cool is that? Do you think the Red Sea was an inland sea too? I think I see a little gap there. But it's neat because we have like these inland seas, right? And then this was an inland sea too. With lots of islands in it. Here's the Arabian Peninsula. You can see there is no Persian Gulf here. Lower sea levels mean that the Persian Gulf is dry land. Wow. That is wild. I never thought about, like I knew this was an inland sea. I didn't know that the Persian Gulf was once just not there. You can see the Torres Strait. We talked about that already. The Torres Strait's just not there. Look at Southeast Asia. It's Sunda. Wow. That is crazy how much land is there. Look at, why does India look like that? It just, everything looks so smudged. Like, look at France. I guess that's because of Doggerland, right? Interesting. Madagascar looks the same. Japan almost looks the same. It's just breaking away. It looks like this was an inland sea. Wild. Over here it says a huge glacier covers the Tibetan Plateau, which is right here. Often called the roof of the world due to its height above sea level. Yeah, the highest elevated plateau is right here in Tibet. You can see the Himalayas down here, creating the Tibetan Plateau today. And then too, apparently. Look at New Zealand, it's all one island. It says glaciers carve deep valleys in the New Zealand landscape. Wow. It's all one island. I don't know, I also never thought of New Zealand being one island either. Pretty cool. Let's look at the Rocky Mountains here. It says the Rocky Mountains region is covered by a giant glacier called the Cordilleran Ice Sheet. Wow. Look how Florida's all smudgy. It's not skinny at all. The Laurentide Ice Sheet over North America is 2 miles or 3.2 kilometers thick at its center. All of this is ice. All of these islands here are not islands. It's all ice. This is all ice. Like half of the United States is all glaciated. But like not Alaska. That's pretty weird, because you can see the Aleutian Islands here, peninsula. You'd think all of this would be all glacier, but apparently not. All of Greenland is. I mean, still all of Greenland is glacier today. Let's see South America here. It says the Patagonian ice sheet right here covers almost all of the Andes in the southern part of modern-day Argentina and Chile. I mean, still kind of does, but obviously not to this extent. It's really just like right here today. Same with like New Zealand. They've got glaciers still, but just it looks like all of it is glacier at this point. Pretty wild. That's a lot of glaciers. Very cool. 20,000 years ago. I wonder why they put this map here and not like before the farming map. I don't know. This book skips around in history a lot. It does things by geographic region, not by history. It's not a concise timeline, which I think is really neat. What a cool idea for a history book by geographic region. Also, channel member videos got to see a video of me planning out this entire series, trying to figure out how to make this book into its own video series. You hear me brainstorming out loud. If you want to watch that, again, that's for channel members only. You got to become a channel member, but being a channel member is only 99 cents a month. If I could make it lower, I would. If I could make it 1 cent a month, I would, but YouTube won't let me go that low because they got to take their cut, you know. I'd love to have you join. You get all kinds of perks, including behind the scenes stuff like that. But this book is awesome. I can't wait to read more, and we will in about 2 weeks. So if you want to see more of this, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. When I do the second video, I'll make a playlist, I promise. I know I'm real bad about making playlists sometimes. I promise you I'll make a playlist for history as it happened. I'm excited. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this video to be relaxing and educational. I'm about